regular prenatal care up until probably like 24 weeks pregnant. At that point, I wasn't seen for like 10 weeks, but it wasn't by choice. It was because the military system, military care I was receiving just would not get me in, and I kept calling for appointments and they just didn't have any. So at that point, around 36 weeks pregnant, I went to labor and delivery on my own to get a non-stress test and make sure everything was okay. And it was. We got a growth scan and baby was measuring average. Everything was good. At that point, I was able to finally get in weekly. So by choice, I wanted the prenatal care. So I continued on with the prenatal care. Still at that point, at 36 weeks pregnant, I wasn't even sure that I was going to have a home birth again. Again, my third baby was in assisted home birth, so I was kind of afraid to go on assisted, and I really was still trying to find a midwife. Then at like 38, 39 weeks pregnant, it was clear that I was not going to find a midwife. So at that point, again, I was just kind of following my intuition on the whole situation. Finally, I was like 4 days past due, and I went to labor and delivery again to get a non-stress test. And at that point, again, baby was perfect. I was perfect. There was no reason to induce. But the doctors were not happy that I wouldn't be induced. They said I was 4 days over my suspected due date, so I needed to be induced right then and there. When I said no, they then began to tell me my baby was too big, even though they didn't think he was too big before. I kept asking why they thought that. Could we get a scan? Like, where was this coming from? And they were basically just saying that you need to stay at the hospital now and get induced. And I said no, that's not happening. So then they came in my room with an AMA form against medical advice they wanted me to sign. I said I'm not going to sign that, but I am going to leave. So they documented that, I guess, in my record. At that point, I went home. Again, I was like 4 days past my due date. I figured I'll, go until 41 weeks as long as everything was okay, and then I'll go back for another non-stress test. So I forgot to finish this, but I will now. But basically, I didn't sign the form because what they were saying in that form I didn't agree with. So I went home. I started having contractions when I came home, but I was having a lot of prodromal labor, so I didn't think anything of it. Went to bed, woke up at 6 a.m. and thought, hey, maybe this is it. And then by 8 a.m. he was born. So within less than 24 hours, he was here from when the doctors told me that I would never birth this baby naturally because he was too big.